About halfway up this pass, rather than heading along the pass and into the mountains proper, she sort of veers off and just walks straight up to a cliff. And she looks at you and goes, "I need to get up there, please. Can you carry me?"
Carry you?
I'm only little. And you at this point you look at her carefully and you can see that she's got ragged grey hair that comes down to her waist. It's all matted, much in the same way as yours. She wears a very simple, like Hessian sack kind of frock, which doesn't even have a belt or anything. She doesn't seem to have any possessions with her. She's not even wearing shoes of any kind whatsoever, just bare feet. You notice that she has leathery, gnarled feet and sort of talon-like toenails. And you realise that she is tiny even compared to you.
Could I try and assess how much she weighs?
Mm-hmm.
What would that be?
It'd be wisdom.
Alright, of course. 30.
You reckon she could be no more than 5 stone. I mean, she's teeny,
Like really small.
Like her arms are like matchsticks. You think if you flicked her, she'd like a strong breeze would
really,
knock her down.
really small. Okay.
And you find it even harder to fathom how she could walk so slowly and you could never catch up to her.
I after this assessment, I turn to her and I say, yes, I think I could carry you.
Make a spot check.
17.
You look at the cliff and you glance up and you sort of see there appears to be a well-worn climbing route.
Mm-hmm.
And up at the top, it almost looks like the cliff's become painted in some form, way or manner. Like there's symbols that start to appear.
Right. Okay.
They will give you advantage on climbing.
Well, I'm very good at climbing, actually. Alright. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm very good.
so you have advantage as well.
Wouldn't it be disadvantage because I have someone on my back?
No, you get advantage because you just planned a decent way up, and she just hops onto your back.
Oh right.
Yeah. As you're looking up the cliff, you suddenly feel this. You feel someone like climbing up, and his arms wrap around you, and then you sort of feel bony legs wrap around you, and you can sort of feel this bone in the body. And she really is next to nothing. But make a strength check a second.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you're just literally, you're like, I've carried sticks that are heavier than this. And you look up the cliff and you decide which way to go.
Right, shall we go then?
Simon looks at you like, oh.
Can I assess to see if Simon can follow up this?
Mm-hmm. Simon can see if he can follow as well.
Simon can see. 10 for me.
You're like humming and hawing because the place where you're going up it's sheer.
It's pretty steep. 4 for Simon.
Simon just dashes off.
5 for Simon.
You're pretty sure he'll come back at some point, but he's like, as you start climbing, he just sort of dashes off, like looking frantically, sort of bolting backwards and forwards at first, and then wider and wider, and then sort of disappears from view, like he's looking for a way up for himself.
Okay. But I feel confident that he's following, for trying to find a way to follow. Simon, he's great, man.
Make a climb check at advantage.
Of course. 16. Yeah, 16.
16. Okay, so it's not a difficult climb. You manage to make your way up, and as you're climbing up, you start to notice that there are paintings of like eyes and clouds, and very, very simple paintings, like single brush strokes, sort of showing a cloud, or a white eye shape with a sort of a black disc in the middle to show an eye. You can't really see how they connect together, but there's dozens of eyes and dozens of clouds and a couple of ears. As you're climbing up, you sort of almost feel like you're climbing across somebody's face. And as you climb up, you sort of realise that it's getting colder and colder, and you get up to the top and pull yourself over, sort of lie on your chest, and the woman sort of just stands up and walks over you almost, but I sort of feet either side of you, feet either side of your head, and then sort of carries on walking. And you sort of pull yourself up and you're like, look around and you can see that you're sort of at the lowest level of the snow. Make a spot check. Okay.
15.
And you're glancing around, you're looking up at the snow, and you start to realise that there are lots of things that look kind of like just people sat there. And the woman is walking directly towards these.
Like
up
actual
into
people?
the snow. They look like.
Or is it not the rocks that are...
They look like people that are sat in the snow.
Oh wow, okay. I just watch.
And she just moves up amongst the people and sort of almost looks like she's giving blessings to each one as she passes. She doesn't touch any of them, but she sort of bows, offers greeting, almost like she knows them all by name.
And how many of these people are there?
You cannot tell, they just seem to be just dotted up the side. And she starts doing a circuit around these people, greeting each one individually.
I'm just gonna stand there and wait and watch her.
As you're sat there waiting, you suddenly hear and sort of Simon comes bounding over the edge of a hill and over towards you. And after she has gone around, it must have been at least 100 people, you're not even sure. She spends several hours going around these people. She goes and picks a spot, sits down, and then beckons to you.
I look at Simon and I say, shh, just to,
And you're like,
and then I walk over to the woman.
so you start walking through the snow and you start walking, and as you approach, you start to realise that these sitting people are actually, they have these Hessian type robes which have been worn away and desiccated with time, and they've mummified themselves in the snow, and they just sat there mummies in the snow, and each one you walk by, it's like empty eyes, sort of not empty, the eye's still in there, but everything's atrophied and consumed itself, everything's desiccated, but they all seem at peace.
They are alive.
No.
No.
They're very much dead. But it's like they've all chosen to come here and sit here. And they look out over the desert from this high seat in the cold mountain tops. And it kind of weirds you out.
Yeah.
And as you glance around, she sort of beckons to you again.
I walk over to her and I kneel next to her and I say, "Is this where you need to be?"
And she looks at you and smiles. A sort of a real like happy smile. It's like, "Thank you, young man.
Oh, what?
And now I promised you a gift." And she just reaches out and touches the middle of your forehead. Actually, what do you do? How do you react to her reaching out towards the middle of your forehead?
Nothing, I just let her. I feel very safe in her company.
And she just taps the middle of your forehead. And then she says, "One day you'll know all of their names." Mescalito is one who can lead you there. But there are other safer ways. Or less painful ways, should we say. And she almost seems like to fade. And then she says, now I must be quiet. The old woman, she sits, she seems to relax, she sits upright, and the breath comes out, steaming up the air, fogging in the cold of the high mountains. And she seems to relax, but she doesn't slump or anything, and she just stops. And in your mind you just hear a name, Karasan, and you know it's her name. and she's gone. But she seems at peace, and like all the other people sat facing out over the desert, watching to the east, where the sun rises in the morning. And she seems just like all the others, at peace and still. What do you do?
What time of day is this?
It's late evening now, so it's about 5 o'clock. The sun will be going down in about an hour, maybe 2. You're aware that where you are is cold, but there's snow, so you can get water from the snow.
Oh yes, water. Thank you. Yes, that's what I need.
Also, just make a spot check.
12.
You notice that further down the mountainside and in the valley going up, there are bits of scrubby tree and such forth, so you think that you'll be able to gather enough wood for a fire in order to survive the night.
And how far away am I from my cave?
From your cave,
Quite far.
probably about 15 miles from your cave now.
Okay.
You've travelled for a good part of the day,
Mm.
and you haven't been going slowly nor quickly, but you've
Well,
you
most
ran
of
for a half an hour, which is a good distance away, and then you have walked with her for another few hours.
it. Okay. So I'm gonna have to camp here for the night, it seems.
You could look for somewhere. You've got a couple of hours to get somewhere. You
Cool.
could probably get back down the cliff.
I was thinking
If you-
about going back down a bit, yeah.
But the cliff is well into sort of the. If you have the desert, then you have the village of the Sandy Pass and the cliff which that's built into, and then you're sort of well into the first mountain as such of this range of mountains. And from where you are, and you look around, and you can see mountains travelling off to the west. You can see a sort of thin route where you look down the slope to where the cliff was that you climbed up, seems to sort of travel into the mountain range. And the sun is low over the western mountains. The sky is starting to sort of burn reds and oranges and yellows, and you know that it will continue to creep down into the night.
Well,
And Simon is actually, as she's died, Simon has first sat facing her and then sort of laid down on all fours, sort of just looks at her, not in a sad way, just in an accepting way, and she has a beatific expression on her face, and Simon almost reflects this. And he's gone very quiet and very calm.
Well, I go over to Simon and I kneel next to him and I give him a little stroke, a little scratch behind the
He
ear.
sort of pushes against your hand a bit.
And I say, "It's all right, boy. It's all right. She's at peace now."
He sort of almost smiles.
But we have more important things right now, Simon. We need to find some firewood. So let's go find some firewood. And I get up, and
He gets up as well and he starts bounding off. And then he sort of looks over his shoulder at you like, "Come on," and then starts bounding again. To somewhere further away from the cliff where you came, but heading into the mountains.
Okay. I take one last moment to look at the Kara-san. And I look at her a moment, and I just take in the picture of these people and this woman come here to die. And then I follow Simon.
As you follow him, you see that he's clearly found a completely different way up, and he keeps bounding through the snow a bit, and then sort of goes to an edge of a cliff a bit, and then like he sort of sniffs the air a bit, looks around a bit, and carries on a bit further, and leads you around to a much easier way down from this mountainside. There's a small ice melt and a stream that sort of goes down, carving a path. And it's not easy, and it's a bit jagged, and your boots going, and you sort of occasionally sort of get a little sharp stone in your shoe and have to shake it out.
Bit of snow in my toes.
Yeah, and you where you're going, you sort of realise that you're heading away from the snow.
Mm-hmm.
So are you taking any with you? You don't have any water. You don't really have a carrying device.
I don't really have a carrying device. What I will do though is just eat a lot of snow right now.
Okay, so you just start warming up, saying, "Ah, man," and it's bloody cold, and your hands sort of start getting numb, and you sort of feel your nose going red and getting cold. And as you're doing this, Simon sort of follows your lead and starts lapping at snow. But there is a small stream actually that he's taking you to, which goes down, so you could potentially get drink directly from that as well. In fact, if you dip a finger in, and it's sort of this is like ice just above freezing.
Yeesh.
But it's clear and clean and is wonderful to drink.
I'm gonna have to brace it. I ate the snow, and then realised how stupid I was being because there's a stream right there. Oh yeah, the stream. And I kneel down next to the stream, and I just brace myself, and I just get one scoop of water and just drink it as fast as I possibly can, and
It feels like liquid ice rolling down into your gullet, but it feels so fresh.
And then I think the next port of call, we're gonna have to find some firewood. Try and gather up some wood.
Okay, so you follow Simon down through this sort of, it becomes a bit of a ravine, almost sort of the rocks start arcing overhead a little bit, and you're sort of half wading and saying, it's cold. But you just wade through it anyway, and you sort of get used to it because your feet just go numb. And then it opens out a little bit, and there starts to be bits of scrub and twigs lying about. And as the sun is going down, you're sort of gathering sticks as you go. Make a spot check.
3.
Make one for Simon. Okay.
20! Not now.
Reginald is looking around, and he sort of sees cliff faces and trees, and he's like, this isn't really any good. And Simon just comes up and sort of headbutts the side of your leg, and then sort of starts bounding a bit, and then he leads you, and there's just sort of like a nook in the rocks, so like there's a sheer rock face, and there's sort of like a gap, and there's a bit of water dribbling down the back and sort of running through, but there's a dry patch, and it will keep you out of the wind. And and you know, if you build a fire sort of in the mouth of the cave, much like you do at home, you can settle down on your furs and be warm enough.
Do I have my
for the
furs
night.
with me? Yeah.
Oh no, you left
No, I
them
left
behind.
them.
You don't even have your furs. You just have to settle down with Simon.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cuddle.
You'll have to cuddle to keep warm.
Okay. So yes, we build a fire.
So you build a fire, you light it. The fire is tiny, but the heat is just so wonderful. And you snuggle with Simon, and you sort of settle down for the night. And in the night, you can hear the wind whipping up, but it sort of whips past the edge of the little cup you're staying in, and it howls in the night, and you can hear what you think you can hear. You're not sure whether you're awake or asleep anymore. But that cusp before passing out, and it sounds like the wind is whispering to you, I know who you are, I know how to find you. and it leads to a fitful sleep. And you wake up in the morning, you know when you wake up and you sort of, everything aches a bit, and you're glad of the warmth of Simon, and you sort of hug up to him a little bit more, like, oh God, I need your body heat. And Simon sort of does the same back shuffling against you. And you just sort of have an echo of those voices, but then also the memory of Karasan and her sense of peace and tranquility. What are you going to do as you come to?
So this is the morning.
It's the morning.
Okay.
Again, it's first light. It's about 6 a.m. probably. The sun is, there's a bleak light cutting in. It's
still quite
cold here compared
cold, yeah.
to where you're used to, because you're used to being sort of right next to the desert. And even though the desert is really cold at night, you can immediately feel, as soon as the sun is rising, you can feel the warmth of the day coming back. Whereas at the higher altitude where you are, even though the sun is creeping across and you can sort of see light streaming across and you can see quite easily, it's much colder here. You feel a bit of a shiver and you kind of wish the fire hadn't gone out in the night, but you only managed to gather enough firewood for it to last for a while.
So I've got no firewood left.
You could go and gather more if you wanted to make another fire, but you'd have to spend an hour or two, but it's early morning and it's cold.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. So yes, I get up and go out and find some firewood.
As you're getting up, Simon sort of opens an eye and looks at you disdainfully, like, how dare you take your body heat away from me. But as you walk off, you find that Simon is doggedly at your heels. And you find enough firewood for a small fire very easily. Where you want to light it?
I think we'll go back to where we slept.
Okay.
And I'll, because there's obviously the old fire there, so I will sort of reburn the bits of tinder that's still there and everything, relight the fire. And basically we have the same morning routine every morning. So we sit next to the fire, I get a bit of food, half it, give a bit to Simon, and we sit there for a while.
Yeah.
And enjoying the bit of meat. I think that would be the last of the meat. I haven't eaten
You've
any
got
cactus,
you've got enough for the rest of enough food for the rest of the day, but that's the last.
That's the last of the meat. So I've got some cactus left. Okay. Cacti. I do apologise. Very uncouth. Yeah.
And then after eating, it takes about 8:30 in the morning. The sun is just starting to warm the land a bit. You're not shivering anymore as you move away from the fire. The warmth of the fire is still incredibly welcome. So what do you intend to do?
Oh, I want to stay next to the fire a bit more.
Yeah, okay. So the fire. You sort of keep it going and nudge all of the embers together and keep it warm for as long as you possibly can. You're just like, I just want to stay warm.
Just wait as long as possible.
Simon sort of sat next to you, but like firmly pressed against your side, keeping his sort of body warmth against your body warmth.
I'd like to listen to see if there's anything I can hear.
Okay.
Other than just the wind. Specifically, I think, anything going on? Can I hear anything? 17.
Apart from the wind, which is sort of dying down a bit now, you can hear sort of distant cue, cue of some kind of bird of prey out hunting.
Ooh. Best be careful of that bird, Simon. We don't want you to be swept up in its claws.
Simon just turns and looks at you like, are you for real? I'm a dog. I hunt things, they don't hunt me.
Sorry.
He just sort of nuzzles up against you.
Yeah,
Like,
sorry.
I forgive you.
Sorry, boy, I know.
Foolish
I'm worried
man.
about you. I think, Simon, I think we need to go back to our cave and pick up our things. I left my bow there and that secret stash of wood as well. What do you say, boy? Should we go back?
He looks at you warily, but kind of nods agreement.
Yes, you're very right, Simon. We'll be very careful. We shall go very carefully. You're very right. Well, come on then, boy. We've got a journey to make.
How quickly do you want to make it there? Because if you like sort of half jog it, half walk, you can probably make it there by midday. Whereas it'll probably take most of the day to make it there if you walk. If you walk through the heat of the day, you can make it there before dark. If you want to get there after dark, you can take as much time as you like.
Walking through the heat of the day is a bit...
The stream that you were drinking from isn't very far away, and also there is sort of a dribble of water coming down the back of the cave if you fancy licking the walls.
Yes, some water before we go, yeah, definitely. Let's go back to the stream to have a proper drink of water, I think, because we've got a long journey ahead of us, so the middle of the day.
It's only a 5-10 minute walk to the stream. You get back to the stream and you see it sort of, it goes down and then it actually sort of goes into the sand of the golden path of sand that goes up into the mountains this way. And you go a little bit up the stream, find it where it's a little, just deep enough to get your hands into, or your face, and start drinking from there. Simon's like,
get as much as you can, Simon. We have a long journey ahead of us.
he just sort of keeps on going until he's like, and he has a sort of satiated expression on his face. It's like, I've had food, I've had water, I'm a happy dog.
Okay, are you ready, boy?
Oh.
Let's go. So, there's no rush.
Nope.
We don't have anything. I don't really have a life. There's no need to get anywhere for any specific reason.
You live from day to day,
So
and you get whatever you need as and when you can.
Go for a casual walk.